all the contradictions in a weird way that you have to understand. He's physical, but he's not physical. He can fly, but he has to pretend like he can't. He has, you can, all the things he can do that he has to keep sort of inside, but also doesn't resent that, and he's okay with it, even though he's been sort of persecuted by the human race. He still finds good in them, all those things. That he absorbed that and loved it, in a way that I think allows this Superman to be really relatable.
You know what? It's no different from the pressure of any other job. It's the pressure I put on myself is far greater than anything else. It's because I want to do the job right, and I want to put my all into it and do it well, do it really well, do it to the best of my ability. Of course, there is that external worldwide pressure of people wanting me to do this, and that don't mess it up kind of thing. And I chose not to acknowledge that, because that's not going to help me in any way. It may even, in fact, negatively affect my performance. And so I chose to sort of put that to the back of my mind. I was very aware of its existence, but the pressure I put on myself was far more positive and would have a greater effect towards the positive on my performance.
We've complicated through his story, right? Like, oh, he comes from Krypton, he grew up in Kansas, blah, 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 all that stuff. But there is a sort of clean idea at its core of this guy that's just trying to do the right thing and using this extraordinary powers to kind of help those that can't help themselves, maybe, or that could help themselves but find themselves in a situation where they've been like either injured or trapped or whatever, and there's just that one little bit of magic that needs to happen that he represents, and I think that's difficult to fight, because it's so strong.
One of the things that's really important to Jor-El to try to communicate to his son, whichever way he can, is that these things that are different about him, these strengths that he has, these capacities, it's a huge responsibility, but it's a responsibility that should lay on him lightly, because it's absolute. If he doesn't fulfill his responsibility, then there is nobody else who's going to. So, it's his lot, but, he gets those superpowers, because of the idea that, he can help people.
I think it takes her by surprise. And I think that it's very interesting that it actually takes this person from another world to actually make her more human. His humanity actually brings about a change in her, and probably gives her a stronger sense of humanity. And I would think as the story, continues, she becomes a stronger and more well-rounded human being. I think she's pretty focused when we find her, and pretty dead set on what she believes to be, the most important thing, which is telling the truth. Things don't. There's no reason for secrets. And I think she really, she comes to really respect humanity and identify more with humanity by her experiences with Clark.
I guess I felt like Superman. Look, I'm a bit of a fan of the character anyway. So the opportunity, and I can't say that when the opportunity came that I wasn't hesitant because of my sort of love of the character. But it was one of those things where I was like, gosh, if I don't do this, someone will. And then it's a weird. It's like reverse responsibility. It's like, dang it, it got me anyway. So yeah, there was that, and then I just knew that inside of Superman was the potential to kind of, be slightly transcendent as a superhero movie, talk to us about who we are as people and things of that nature. I know that sounds like heady, but I think that he being the sort of ultimate representation of the mythology of comic books in modern culture, that there's something in that, teaching us about ourselves a little bit.
We are making Superman, for goodness sake. It's seriously cool. And Zack reminds us of that with his attitude and his his way of being every day. And yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better director for this job. Absolutely not. He's great.
The script just delivered. I mean, it wasn't just a superhero film. It was this really great classic story, and it had really deep characters, and it was the first time I could see Superman like relatable to a modern audience. And he was a man, and you know, we see him and he had a beard, and he just felt really dimensional, and he didn't feel like this plastic Boy Scout that was just so good. You know, he was struggling like we struggle.
Henry is very dynamic and charismatic as an actor. He's and he's very unflappable. I can't imagine how hard it's been for him, all the work he's done for such a long time, to not get bogged down by that. He's very, I don't know, the camera starts rolling, he hears action, and he just snaps into it. He's obviously thought a lot about it, and he has a real sense of what Superman or Clark or Cal would do and wouldn't do, would say, wouldn't say. And to him, Clark's sense of dignity and his sense of values are very important, and he'll always protect those, I think.
A lot of time for me, Superman was always difficult. It was always difficult for me to understand the why. Like, why does he care? Like, you know, he can do whatever he wants. Why does he care? And I think this movie you were able to say, like, oh, of course he cares. His parents taught him to.
Martha and Jonathan were both rather heroic as parents, only in that they had to persevere, not only with protecting Clark with his anonymity as far as his powers and all that element of hush-hush, without instilling shame in the child. So that's, how do you know, we would encourage Clark to utilize his, and honor his gifts at home privately, and ask him to keep that protected from the outside world without having any shame about his gifts. So there's a lot of explaining to do as a parent when you're saying, do this, not that, here's why, trust us, you'll see later. I mean, we do that anyway as parents. But when somebody can hear everything you say and see through walls, you must live an honorable life with no hypocrisy.
Clark gets his kind of, his DNA from his space father, from another galaxy. But he gets his character from Jonathan. So the DNA for the one, and then the character about who he is as a person as he walks on Earth, he's learned from his mother and his father.
A well-brought-up farm boy. At the same time, he's a young man or a man who has no clue who and what he is and why he's so different. Which is wonderful, I think, because it has that traditional man at the same time, this guy who's very untraditional. He doesn't know what he is. And then his discovery of what and who he is something which layers his life with a sense of loss in that discovery. And ultimately an outsider at all stages of his life. And the only place he's ever made to feel at home is with Martha and Jonathan. And otherwise, even when he knows who his real parents are and what his real home is, he's made to feel even more of an outsider in that. It wasn't about getting a balance. You see, it's going to be very easy to assume that some sort of balance needs to be made because it's a superhero. Oh, and there are emotions? It's a story. And as an actor, you're going to find in a story there's lots of emotions, and you go through stuff, and it's a story first, and there's an emotional being at the center of it first. He just happens to have these incredible abilities. And it's not about finding that kind of, you know, oh, how do you balance the two? You don't balance the two. You be them both. And this is what makes this movie different, is that it's not just, oh yeah, okay, superhero, pfft. Wow, that's cool, look, superhero saved me, superhero. There's, oh, wait a second, oh, what? There's an alien here? And 33, okay, alien for 33 years, and we can't hurt him, you're telling me. I don't know how I feel about this. But then you have to ask how he feels about people saying that about him, when in fact, he's just trying to do the right thing all the time. Doesn't always achieve the right thing, but he tries, because the choices aren't obvious.
I thought the beauty of it was in the truth of the details. And it's the truth of the journey, and it's a journey that we all face in our own way. You know, and I really thought that the examination of that, well, he's Superman, oh, he's everything. Yeah, but you know something? We can all be Superman, whatever that is, but this was his journey. This is what he had to go through. And superpowers, you know, if anything, you know, really didn't help him. It made his particular journey just as difficult as yours or as mine, as most people's. So that's what I found really of value and entertaining.
Henry is, well, you know, I always say he comes from a military family, and he, so like if Superman is kind of like a first responder in some weird way, like, you know, he's a volunteer, he doesn't look for any kind of praise of any kind, he's really just looking to help as best he can. And I think because Henry's brothers are all in the military and it's a thing he's grown up with, like, that earnestness is not weird to him. It's not like a thing he has to, it's not cheesy or put on. It's like I say, okay, then you're gonna help these people. It's like, yeah, of course I am. Like, it's not, like, that's not, he has to, I mean, yes, he's acting, but it's like, that's not a thing he has to look deep for. And I think that's important, that's the essence of Superman in a lot of ways.
When I thought of Superman, there was definitely, I had my ideas of what that was and who that was. And when I thought of Lois, there's definitely ideas of what and who that was. But at the same time, I think I come from theater, so roles are constantly reimagined, you know, and redone. So it never throws me to have to reimagine a role or to come at it from a new point of view. To me, it's very exciting. And I hope that people are excited by it and that they embrace this new envisioning of not just Lois, but of the entire world.
You know, the weight of the world is on his 27-year-old shoulders at the moment, and it's his discipline that has been most impressive, you know, that he's just stuck with it and he's just, you know, head down, get the thing done, you know. He brings a lot of care to it as well. He's obviously done a lot of thinking about it and stuff, so, you know, the few scenes that we've had together have been very enjoyable, you know. I mean, he definitely looks like Superman in that costume.
We went through months of, you know, putting the suit together and trying different materials and different sort of, you know, styles and different lengths of cape, different sizes of S-shield, different S's. And when we finally had that finished thing and we put it on, I wasn't looking in the mirror or anything, put it on, turned around, saw myself, and there's something really special about this suit. It's not about the materials or you know, the combination of stuff. It's two people cook you a meal, same ingredients, same kitchen, same pots and pans and everything. One of them tastes so much better. There's something special about that meal because someone put love into it. And with the suit, the people who came up with the concepts, the people who made the decisions, the people who put the stuff together with their hands and their hearts and their intellect and all of their talent, made this thing into something truly special. It has like an almost physical energy about it, and it affects people. Like people will, you know, stand straighter or go, oh, hey man, when they see you in the suit, where you walk past them before, not in the suit, and they're just like, hey, it's something I can't quite put a word to.
I was in favor of the briefs. I was like in the brief camp. But I gotta say, even I couldn't make the briefs cool. Like I really tried. Like I finally went like, all right, fine, no briefs.
Impressions of the costume? I love it. I think it's a really good modernization of something very classic. It's got a very alien feel to it, while being recognizable as the suit that we know and love. I think it brings a sort of almost like a testosterone energy to something, which I think is required in today's sort of movie world, because everyone is so used to things being so high octane and visceral in the news. Movies, our fantasies, have to be even bigger and better, and I think The Suit lends something of that to this. It's something which is exceptionally cool and otherworldly at the same time. It's the inherent goodness in him, I think. As much as people say, oh, it's boring, it's not. It's everything that people want to be around, good people. And he will quite happily let you feed off his goodness and his energy. He'll give to everyone constantly. And that's what the comic books are about. It's about doing the right thing, having those good people in your life, and being a good person to other people. And it makes people feel good. When you do the right thing just because, afterwards, it feels good. It feels right somehow. And it's not like, oh yeah, I feel good now, I'm gonna keep on doing it because it makes me feel good. It's just, it feels right. And there's something special about the comics and the movies and everything else that makes people feel that way. And above and beyond all that, hope. He just represents hope. And in every walk of life we need it. Throughout history we've needed it, human history, and we'll continue to need it for the rest of our futures.
One of my favorite sequences to shoot was when I'm explaining to him what's happened and telling him how much I want him to be a part of our mission, and it was surprising how emotional it was. You know? It's not what you expect, I think, from a movie like this.
Henry's been working on this role of Superman well beyond the time that we started to shoot. He found out that he got the role in April of 2011, and we actually didn't start shooting until August. And he's been psychologically getting into the role of Clark, Superman, as well as physically getting into that role, and he completely metamorphosized his body. He always had a great physique. If you saw The Immortals, you know that Henry Cavill has a great physique. But he really turned his physique into something super for this film. And he gave and has given just an amazing amount of hard work and great thought to every aspect of his performance. And when he's in that suit, he really changes. He really owns the character, and you can see it both on and off the set just by the simple fact that he dons that suit, even when the cameras aren't rolling. It's fun to watch.
Completely embodies, and that's the thing that really struck me about Henry. When I first met him, I read with him, and I'd known him from the Tudors, so like I knew what his physical presence was. But when I met him, and he had such a wonderful humility to him and a gentle quality and almost old-fashioned gentleman quality, and I thought, wow, that's really going to bring something specific and beautiful to the role of Superman, and I think he really does.
Yeah, you do think about it, but not in the sense of grandeur and sort of the legend of Superman. It's just, okay, I may get a great opportunity to tell this wonderful story with these amazing people who I worked with for years to come, and that is an amazing prospect. I get to do something I love doing with wonderful people and continue to do it, and therefore make money and be able to support the ones I love and give them the lives I want to give them. It's, yeah, couldn't be better.